Welcome into the show, ladies and gentlemen, the Triple Play Fantasy Baseball Show. Let's go. Yeah, that's right. All the fantasy baseball talk you need. It starts right now. What's going on, guys? D-Man coming at you with Triple Play Fantasy Doc. We got Marty Party. We got Elsie Little Cheesecake in the house too. Tonight, week 5 of the fantasy baseball season's underway. Fellas, how we doing tonight? Marty, I got to say, I felt I kind of was connected to you because I had Spencer Torkelson on my redraft points league team up until a couple days ago, and I finally said, it is time. I got to cut bait with this dead weight on my team. Did I do the right decision?
I think so at this point. And for context, our 10-team home league, it's a categories league. He has been dropped by my buddy Big Ben. It was a sad day. We hate to see it happen, but he's not seeing the ball well. As I was telling you guys before we hopped on here, he's 0-2 every time I blink. It's just been a tough run for the Tigers.
Yeah, it's hard to drop someone like that. Obviously, you're not doing it in a dynasty league, but redraft leagues, I think it's about time, 12 teams and less. Doc, your birthday's next week. You already got your plans figured out. Are you? Do you have anything in particular that you're looking forward to the most next week?
Not working on my birthday. It's always nice to have a random Thursday off.
Yeah, that's very fair. It's like, are you taking off Friday?
It depends how hungover I am. I already told
you should
my boss
already
that.
prepare to take off. And of course, LC in the house. I promise you, he's beautiful. And for those that are tuning in for the first time, you don't see that, but I can guarantee you, you're missing out on that hairy, handsome face there. LC, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little bit anxious because you guys know I always throw in something stupid. I say right before we start recording. I forgot that you don't start right off with the song now, which always saves me because so I'm going to have to wait until I download and listen to see if my dumb comment right before we started is the very first thing that starts our show tonight. So I'm a little bit anxious about that, but I'm cutting it off the podcast. It's not going to make it on the podcast. That's all I know.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was. Do you guys remember what it was?
It's never important.
It's a golden nugget.
Yeah.
It's a golden nugget. That's fair. I'll just listen back on the YouTube when we're done with this. But as we said, it's week 5. So tons of great stuff happening. Tons of players getting called up since our last show, actually, which for people that love diving into prospects, it's like Christmas. We're seeing batters start performing better. I think we saw a record low offense in April. May is kind of now rolling around. We're seeing those offenses slowly emerge. And it's good because we want players in fantasy to produce, and our hitters have not. But as we always do, of course, we'll have our full rundown with players catching our eye. We'll have of course, art segment, which is the Bring Out Your Dead, and our most added, most dropped. We've got waiver wire pickups. We've got hitting and pitching streamers. So much great stuff on the show as we do every single week. But as always, we got to kick things off with the rundown. All right. And they always, as we said, we start out with players that wowed us, giving us this reaction every single time we look at these lines. And these are as of Wednesday morning. So I do have one game as far as dated in these stats. But when you have a full-time job, sometimes it's hard to stay on top of that completely here. But we have Josh Naylor, who over his last 7 games, 417, 444, 875 slash, 3 home runs, 14 RBIs, 4 runs, 2 doubles, a walk, and 3 Ks. Now, 2 homers and 8 RBIs came in one game against the Chicago White Sox, which, to be honest with you, that might have been some of the most clutch home run hitting I've ever seen from a player, to be able to hit a grand slam to tie the game and then to hit a 3-run home run in extra innings to give him a win. And on top of that, he's only striking out 13% of the time this season, which is top 10% in all of baseball. Marty, I'm going to go to you first because you're the knowledgeable one on this show. Do you think Josh Naylor is worth a speculative add in anything 12 teams or deeper?
Absolutely, because you guys, and as you know, for offense being down so much, you're looking for anybody that's hot, who's hitting the ball. And Naylor was actually the first person ever to hit a grand slam and a 3-run homer in the 9th inning and then afterwards. So, yeah, absolutely incredible game. He's looking good for the Guardians. Their offense continues to go.
Incredible, right? Because I think many of us thought that offense was going to be one of the worst in baseball, and it's been one of the best. And it's almost to the point now where they're benching Franmil Reyes just because he's not performing. And they have so many guys like Stephen Kwan, like Owen Miller, kind of guys that are just obviously Josh Naylor, guys that are you didn't expect to produce and are out there every day making them so they can't get benched. They're just out there producing for this team. Very shocking to start the year, to say the least. Another player that very interesting, because we've seen this from him before, and I don't know if it's going to stay or not, but we've seen stretches from Manuel Margot, who over the last 7 days, a 500, 550, 1,000 slash line, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 4 runs, 2 doubles, a strikeout, and 4 stolen bases over the last 7 days. A 349 expected batting average is the top 1% of baseball, a 12.6% K rate, and much improved versus breaking pitches this season. Ground balls are also way down with line drives way up this season. He's getting a lot of playing time for the Rays right now, LC, and somebody that obviously with the stolen base upside in roto leagues, you have to be taking a look at. Do you think this could be something that sticks, or are we just something that's going to be just riding him out while he's hot?
I think it's gonna stick. I am concerned about this day-to-day status. He hasn't started the last 2 days due to a hamstring injury. I don't know if that's going to affect his running in the near future. I think over the long term, he has been hitting very well, and he performed pretty darn good for them last season. He's a guy who I was expecting 10-10 from this year because I wasn't sure the playing time, but with Lowe going down to the minor leagues, there might be less people up there to just steal games from him, give him a more opportunity to get more playing time. Because really, the playing time was the only thing. If he's hitting like this, then they're going to give him the playing time, I think. So I'm on board with it. I think he's going to have a good season this year. He's been looked very good so far.
He's really only 27 years old, by the way.
Yeah, and actually striking out a career low this season, 12.6% of the time. The BABIP is a little high at 366, so there is going to be some batting average regression you would expect. But a 176 WRC plus doesn't lie. Like he's really been on top of his game this year, and I think as long as he's healthy, he's going to get a chance to play a lot in the Rays outfield. And those stolen bases, I mean, if he's playing every day like he is, 4 stolen bases in a week. I want to say the leader in stolen bases has like 9 this year. Like Julio Rodriguez, I think
Julio Rodriguez 10 and Jorge Mateo.
Like 9. So I mean, he got almost half of that in 1 week. So that upside alone, just him playing every day with those type of stolen bases, very much a must add, I believe, in any type of league that you're in roto category.
As someone that was riding heavy with him last year, he does get streaky like this. He hasn't been this hot with 4 stolen bases in a week, but if you're in a redraft league or in a league where you can trade, I would see if you can get some value for him now.
Fair enough. Brandon Drury, who's usually pretty Drury, if we're going to be honest, his last 7 games.
He's pretty Drury. I like that use of his name as an adjective. That's pretty good, Mendy.
That's what we do here. You know, we flex things out a little bit. But over his last 7 games, 357, 441, 679 slash, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, 8 runs, 3 doubles, 3 walks. Did have 11 strikeouts. So the Ks are obviously still a little high, but a 51.6% hard hit rate, and ground ball rates are way down this season than he's had compared to most seasons. The one thing I did note, though, a 251 career batting average, which for somebody that's as much a journeyman as Brandon Drury is, he's shown flashes in the past, and that's not bad. So if he gets an everyday path to playing time, this might be somebody who's worth a speculative add in your leagues, Doc. I know Brandon Drury, not somebody that's a sexy name by any means, but what do you think about Brandon Drury?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the playing time because he really hasn't had a full-time role since 2019 with the Blue Jays when he played 120 games. 218, 262, 380 triple slash, 15 homers, 41 RBIs. He played 21 games last year, or 51 games last year, 21 in the short season. If he's getting the playing time, and in Cincinnati, they're not going to win games, but he's going to get at bats, which is important. I think, yeah, you play him. He's in a hitter-friendly ballpark. I think if they rebuild, then he's, unless he gets flipped at the deadline, like you said, the flashes are there. 251 isn't going to tank your batting average in a 5x5 league. Pick him up.
Yeah, you got to sometimes with hitters, you just got to stream them when they're hot and they're getting playing time. And that's the case with him. Though I get the hard hit rate, 51.6%, top 10% of the league. He's also got a 397 WOBA, top 7% of the league. Double-digit walk rate, 10.1%. So he is efficient enough in drawing some walks. And even though he's not doing really great against breaking pitches this year, the fastballs and the off-speed stuff he's doing very well against. So, again, maybe not somebody.
You want to know an interesting stat?
What's that?
At this point right now, he's played 26 games and has 99 plate appearances. That would be the fourth most amount of plate appearances in his 8-year career.
Wow. I mean, he just needs the playing time. Let's see him produce, right? There we go.
Right.
All right, Marty, you're up. Tariq Skubal, are we buying in? Last 2 starts, 13 innings pitched, 9 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts, a 1.38 ERA, 0.92 WHIP over that time. Decreased usage of his four-seam fastball this year with an increase in both his slider and his sinker. And the ground ball rate up 11% and walk rate down 4.4%. So a lot of great peripheral stats that we're seeing here. But the Tigers pitchers have teased us again and again and again. And I don't know whether to fully buy in on any of these guys. What the heck are we doing with Tariq Skubal?
I think we see Skubal taking that next step as a fantasy pitcher, and I wrote about it in Fantrax last week because he was one of the guys I was kind of riding on, and he looked really good there. So what we're seeing is an improved slider, and then he's saying that that's the biggest key to his success. He's being able to move that in and out of the strike zone. That's leading to all of his other pitches getting over better. I mean, he's not walking people at all. I mean, his walk percentage is in the 86th percentile. His xERA is in the 82nd percentile. Now, as far as how much of a buy-in, is he a top 10 pitcher for moving forward? No. I think he's somewhere still around top 40, top 50 in roto leagues with the high upside in Ks. But I think we are seeing him take that next step. So we'll see over the next few months how it plays out. I think he can move into the top 30, top 35 pitchers if he continues something like this. But I wouldn't go full in, no.
Marty, every single time he sees a Tigers pitcher performing,
oh, yeah.
Performing well.
Tariq Skubal was my favorite of Matt Manning and Casey Mize and himself. I think he had the best stuff there for the major leagues. And that, under 3 ERA, I don't know if that's going to stick, but very much right now, somebody that you should at least speculate at it and watch and see what he does. We got a comment from our buddy Lucas checking in here. Favorable upcoming matchups, I think pick him up and maybe start him for a couple good chances at wins. I don't trust him against more competitive batting teams. I think that's the right call. I think kind of that's what you're saying as well, Marty.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. We'll see how he does against those teams.
Fair enough. Reed Detmers, another hot name. Last start versus the Tampa Bay Rays, 9 innings pitched, 0 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. That's equivalent to a no-hitter, ladies and gentlemen. But what was very interesting was 10 whiffs on only 10 whiffs on 108 pitches, 3 on his curveball, which was considered his best strikeout pitch going into the big leagues this season. And in strikeouts in general, he's been very underwhelming. Only 20 batters in 31 innings pitched this year. Obviously, the Angels need pitching, and he's going to stick around in that rotation with the amount they need it. But he's been a little underwhelming, and I think this start could potentially have people jumping to go grab him if he's available. But I don't know if I necessarily buy in, LC. Is he somebody that if you see he's a free agent in a 10 or 12 team league that you're rushing to pick up?
I think for his next start, I'd be avoiding playing him. I would pick him up because I think that he has a good hold on the rotation spot for a team that I think is going to be pretty good this year. But he threw 108 pitches. There was some research done recently on the game after no-hitters. Generally, the more pitches you throw to get to your no-hitter, the worse your next start is going to be. It's like it's a correlation. It's not going to be perfect. But his next start, he threw 108 pitches. That's more than he normally throws. I would expect a little bit of fatigue in his next start. But I think that, I've picked him up. I've used him in as a streamer earlier this season. I think he's the type of player that you should pick up right now as a roster streamer. Tampa Bay isn't hitting very well lately, so we have to remember that. So this was a good win for him. He was pitching great. As you saw, though, he's not getting the Ks, and he really was doing it against a team that's kind of been sputtering lately on the offensive end. So I think pick him up, but curate his use him against the easier offenses.
Good point there. And Lucas adds that Detmers is a possible sneaky pickup for 2-start opportunity next week. I pulled up the Fantasy Pros 2-start pitchers, and as I see it right now, they do not have him lined up for 2 starts. They have him going against Tampa Bay again. I believe that is on Tuesday. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong week here. So week 6.
ESPN has him Monday at Rangers.
They have a Monday at Rangers. I see Detmers also, Monday at Rangers, and they have a 6-man rotation. The Angels do. So I don't know if any Angels pitchers usually get 2 starts, but definitely keep an eye in case they do use him for 2. But right now, I don't think that's the case, but we can see how that plays out for sure. Next guy on this list is somebody I picked up in a home league and somebody that LC rode 2 starts last week to success, and kind of a little bit coming out of there, Josh Winder here. Last 2 starts, 12 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 15 strikeouts. He actually, I did not check his final line today. I saw he gave up 3 runs, and it was the 4th inning against the Astros.
Yeah, do you want me to break it to you?
Oh, my God. What was his final line, Eric?
I mean, it wasn't awful. It's 3.1 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned, 3 walks, 2 Ks.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So this obviously does not include that start.
It's not Tanner Houck bad.
No, it's not. Why you're always breaking bad news to me on this show? I don't like that.
Okay.
Bring me some good news once in a while. 16 whiffs on 80 pitches against Oakland, but we're seeing Oakland, one of the worst offenses in baseball, so take that with a grain of salt. He had a .114 batting average against and a 37% whiff rate against the slider this season. He's somebody that I think is a meh pitcher who should get opportunities with Chris Paddock getting moved now to the 60-day IL. That if he's at least somewhat decent, he should be able to get some run in the rotation. But I will tell you, he's not somebody I think I'm breaking the bank to go get. What do you think, Doc?
I think he's, like you put it perfectly, he's a streamer. 2 good games against the Oakland and Tampa Bay. He only went 6 innings, though, so he's not giving you that really long starting pitching appearance that you're looking for. But we saw what he did against a marginally good offense today, not able to get out of the 4th inning. Definition of streamer in my eye.
Yeah, somebody you go against bad offenses, I think you can put him in, and as, like you said, Doc, a streamer here. This next guy is not a streamer. Juan Yepez, who is coming out guns a-blazing over his last 7 games, a 455, 500, 727 slash line, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 4 runs, 3 doubles, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Did homer last night, so that obviously is not included in here. A modest 20.8% K rate so far this year, and he's locked into playing time. I saw in the middle of the lineup the last couple games for the Cardinals, and taking away Albert Pujols is the other person that would be playing at first base, DHing. He looks like a rookie that can really make some noise this year, Marty Party. And in the leagues I have him, I'm smiling right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally leading baseball with the best average. He's batting .455 on the year. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. And that's qualified at bats to back it up. So, I mean, yeah, you got to just keep riding the crazy wave. For anybody who just randomly scooped him or drafted him in the 50-round leagues, congratulations, it's working out. I'm loving the K rate. That's the thing that I was actually worried about the most with him, and seeing him keeping it where it's at. The playing time is not going to go anywhere. Like you said, Pujols is not going to push him out if he's continuing to hit. So keep riding it.
42.9 hard hit percentage so far this year. 2 home runs now, still a 400 batting average, 91.8 exit velocity, a 107 max EV. We got a lot of great stuff here to like about Mr. Juan Yepez. Very much liking what we see so far. And Luke
talked about him in the prospect and show the call up.
We did. You got to check out the call up where we talk about these guys first. Every single Monday those come out. So he may be my next pickup now that Pena is out day to day. Very much, I think, worth it, Lucas. He, again, locked into playing time and is producing very much so for the Cardinals right now. Last guy we have to talk about here, Kyle Bradish. Last start against St. Louis, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 0 walks, 11 strikeouts, 9 whiffs on 20 swings with his slider in that start. and three starts of 6 innings with 2 runs or less of his 4 starts this season. Somebody that I'm a little skeptical of long term. I think once the league sees him a little bit more, he's going to get hit hard. Also, number 86 is not a sexy number. I don't see that sticking. LC, Kyle Bradish, what do you think about him?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, that's a really nice start. St. Louis has been hitting a little bit better as of late. So to see him come in and just shut him down, that's a really good thing. But and also I will say, but yet, and I will also say that Baltimore has looked much more like a pro pitching park. But I don't know what to expect from Bradish. He doesn't have a long track record. His K per 9 in the minor leagues was always very high. And so I'm not 100% sure what to expect. I think that I would think of him until I saw 1 or 2 more good starts as someone who I would look to stream right now, especially after the first, and pick him up, hoping if he streams and does well again, then that would be sort of proof of his position on the roster. But right now he's just random pitcher A who did well, and we'll see what happens after game 2. But really looking good for this for the first week. I didn't have a chance to watch this game, but the statistics don't lie. He went out and performed well. I'm not 100% sure who he's lined up with to start against next. Let me see if I could pull that up here.
I can do that for you, LC, because I love you, and I'll do that for you. Just because it's you. He's lined up to play in his next start. So he went against St. Louis on Tuesday. He's lined up to start early week 6, so he could be a 2-start pitcher next week. He's lined up to go against the Yankees and then Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think that's a tough 2-start week. I think anyone would, to get those 2 starts in a week, even though Tampa Bay has been scuffling, the Yankees actually for the past week have been a little bit down on offense as well. I still think it's a tough start for a young pitcher, tough 2-start week for a young pitcher, and I probably would not pitch him for that. What do you think, David?
No, I mean, as Albert should be our schedule guy because he was on that before I could look it up. Albert said Yankees, and also we talked about the Rays as well. I'm starting Kyle Bradish in those 2 starts.
A little sneak preview. We'll see him as in the take a seat.
Ooh, Marty, you're a good tease, man. And I'm going to actually take a look too, but I want to see if those are on the road or at home. So, against the Yankees is at home and Tampa is at home, so they're both 2 home starts.
Oh, maybe he pitches on my birthday party.
As it's lined up, actually, that's funny. While we're talking about it now, he is lined up to go. No, it should be on Saturday.
That is it.
No, wait. 1, 2,
16.
3, 4, 5. No, I think. No, yeah, I guess he might be going on your birthday. There you go.
I'm going to tweet Kyle Bradish. I just want you to pitch a good game for my birthday.
We'll feature him on the show if he does well for that one for you. All right. Those are just some hitters and pitchers that have caught our eye over the last 7 days since we last talked to you guys. Now it's time for a triple play favorite. Time to bring out your dead.
That is such a perfect song. I mean, I try to be helpful with Bring Out Your Dead, try to be helpful, carry away the bodies that are clogging up your roster. You're like, I got a dead body here. It's just in the way all the time. Can you come and drag it away? That's what I do. But it is, we're all talking about death here, and that song does kind of fit. We want to start off today and give a Bring Out Your Dead, say goodbye to Akil Badu. We hardly knew you. We have a nickname for which I'm sticking with. I got Badu'd this past week pretty bad. by sitting Nelson Cruz, and Nelson Cruz got himself a home run this week, but I couldn't take it anymore. So I got Badu'd by Nelson Cruz. But Akil, you got sent down. I hope we haven't seen the last of you. I really hope that we have a 4-time Akil Badu bring out your dead. So we're going to say a heartfelt goodbye, but hopefully we'll see you again, Akil. The current bring out your dead. The first person we want to talk about is this smiling face right here, the name Nicky Lopez, suggested by our guy, Britton. Britton, I'm really feeling for you here. You drafted Nicky Lopez because you wanted some batting average. You drafted Nicky Lopez because you wanted some speed, and you're getting neither batting average nor speed from Nicky Lopez. He's been batting ninth. He's dropped to ninth in the batting order over the last few weeks. He has 1 stolen base attempt, and he's hitting .212. I have put his a picture of his StatCast up for those watching on YouTube or Twitter. For those listening, it stinks. Just to let you know, I'm not going to give you the numbers. It's blue like his hat. It stinks. He's on pace for 75 runs plus RBIs. That is second catcher level runs plus RBIs right there. Really bad. Nicky Lopez, you're dead. We're dragging you away. Bye-bye, Nicky. We have one more dead body to drag away this week, and that is, we got to pull this up. There he is. Oh, did I do it? I messed it up.
Yeah, you got him. You got him, LC.
You had one job.
I'm bad with technology. Robbie Grossman, suggested by our very own Marty Party. Robbie, you have been really poor. You were also considered a speed guy. 1 stolen base attempt on the season. At least it was successful. But with that speed, you were supposed to give us some power. We're looking at Robbie Grossman as the 2020 guy you can get after the 10th round or in the 10th round. He has not been giving you the speed. He has not been giving you the power. Robbie has no home runs on this season. He has 19. I put 9 on the screen. He has 19 runs plus RBIs. That's a pace for 96 on this season, which is, barely better than second catcher level in a 2-catcher league. At least you can say with Robbie Grossman, he has been leading off still, but the Tigers offense has not yet begun to pick up, Marty. They will. I feel hopeful for you and for them, and maybe it'll be on Robbie. Once Robbie starts playing well, they'll start hitting well. But as of right now, his decaying corpse is in the corner of your house, and just get it out of there. We'll drag him out to the cart. We're going to drag him away to the body pit. Is there a Detroit Tiger who hasn't sucked? Asks Britton Allen. Yes, Tariq Skubal. We just talked about him a few minutes ago.
There's one, yeah.
Yeah. So far, Miguel Cabrera's been hitting well. He's hitting 300 right now.
Poor Marty.
There's a few Tigers who haven't been. But
Austin Meadows has been okay, but no power yet. That's the last I'll say.
So this week we have Nicky Lopez and Robbie Grossman sent to the death pit. Thanks for submitting them. We've brought out your dead.
Always love that segment here. We'll go from some of the dead folk to some that have been now added to your fantasy teams. And over the last week here, these are just from Monday morning, courtesy of CBS. We have Rowdy Tellez leading the pack, added in 57% of leagues. George Kirby, 41%. Josh Winder, 34%. Royce Lewis, Austin Gomber, Juan Yepez, Manuel Margot, Ryan Helsley, and Alec Thomas. We haven't talked about Alec Thomas yet, an outfielder in the Diamondbacks organization who was just called up, has already hit a home run, and has a couple hits already in just a few games with them. Somebody that also had 5 stolen bases so far in the minor league, so he can give you some steals. If you're going to need some steals right away, he's somebody that you could make a speculative add in those 10 or 12 team leagues. Anything deeper than that, he's probably already rostered, I would think. But somebody that has one of the better prospects for the Diamondbacks, him and Corbin Carroll were the ones most ready to go in the Diamondback system. And I like Alec Thomas. So if he's available, someone maybe you could look at. Most dropped. And this time I got it right. Here we go.
I like your noise better.
Whoa!
Oh, you did better last week.
I did. Most drop. Matt Brash dropped in 29% of leagues. He was demoted to AAA and looks like he could potentially be a bullpen piece. We don't know about that. I hope he gets another chance to start. Dylan Bundy, 24% of leagues. Joe Adell, 24% of leagues. He was dropped. He actually is crushing AAA pitching right now, so maybe it's only a short-term demotion. Frank Schwindel was demoted and then promoted, dropped to 19% of leagues. Tanner Houck, that one hurt my soul. Dropped to 19% of leagues and has literally been god awful. So he's got to figure something out. Hunter Green, 15% of leagues. Matt Barnes, 15% of leagues. And Jurickson Profar dropped in 14% of leagues. I feel like he's been on the most added and dropped. He's like that every year. He just like fluctuates.
Yep.
Never consistent in that. Some injuries, some players that have gotten hurt. And just in case you've been living under a rock, just some notable ones here you can see on screen if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, Michael Waka, side, Carson Kelly, an oblique injury. Andrew Vaughn with his hand. He should be back any day now. Aaron Bummer with a knee. David Fletcher, Chris Paddock, who actually just got placed on the 60-day IL. Trevor Larnach, Carlos Correa, his finger did land him on the IL. Mitch Garver for the Rangers with an elbow. So now John Heim should be able to get a lot of time behind the plate. And Edward Olivares for the Kansas City Royals. It's guys that are out for 60 days or longer. Roberto Perez, catcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 60-day IL. Ken Giles, relief pitcher for the Seattle Mariners, 60-day IL. And Jacob deGrom was moved to the 60-day IL and is only eligible to come off as soon as July 22nd. So it's a little bit longer still for deGrom.
Do we think deGrom pitches this season?
I do. I think that the Mets are going to be in the race and they'll baby him until like August.
That's the only way that I could see them doing it is if they're in contention.
Yeah, it's very rough for anybody that drafted Jacob deGrom, that's for sure, early on. MLB transactions, Luis Castillo activated and started Monday, gave you 5 innings or just under 5 innings of 3 earned run ball. Mariners called up pitcher George Kirby and sent down Matt Bratch. George Kirby had an electric debut. Someone that looks very much like a Shane Bieber type of guy with the control that he has and has some strikeout stuff. If George Kirby is available in any league that you're in, you need to pick him up ASAP Rocky because George Kirby is the real deal.
We need to come up with a nickname for him.
I mean, there's probably there's the easy Kirby. I mean,
Kirby!
Call him Kirby 64. Yeah.
I was thinking that, Marty. I was thinking that.
Can we just call him King DDD?
Diamondbacks promoted outfielder Alec Thomas. We talked about Mets released Robinson Cano. And Twins called up shortstop Royce Lewis, who #1 pick in the 2017 draft, has had multiple ACL injuries, finally getting a shot with the Twins. And he's a 5-tool player that, again, maybe it's only short term and it's not going to be something that's long term here this season, but has great prospect pedigree. Somebody in the top 50 of prospects that you should take a gamble on here. Last thing you'll hear from me before we get to our buddy Doc here for some hitting streamers, the schedule for next week. You can see on screen if you're watching on YouTube, 7 games, 6 games, and 5 games. Just note that the Cincinnati Reds and Cleveland Guardians only play 5 games next week. And on the flip side, the Diamondbacks, the White Sox, and the Royals all play 8 games. So the White Sox, the Royals, and the Diamondbacks play 8, and the Reds and the Guardians play 5. If I did not say another team, they either play 6 or 7. So just make sure when you set your weekly rosters, you keep that in mind if you have anybody on either of those teams. All right, Doc, time for some hidden streamers. Why don't you go ahead and get down with those good hitters for us?
You know, I was really torn for my first one because there's a couple Rockies I could pick, and I was leaning towards Brennan Rodgers. I do like Jose Iglesias as a streamer also, but Brennan Rodgers is owned in 32.4% of ESPN leagues. And in the month of May, which is 8 games that he's played, he's hit .313, 1 homer, 8 RBI, 6 runs. He did sit out Tuesday and Wednesday. I think those are kind of more maintenance rest days for him. He is second base and shortstop eligible, so solidifies that middle infield. And the Rockies play 6 home games, and this is ultimately why I chose him over Iglesias, is because he has more home run upside. Iglesias will give you more runs and average, but I prefer ceiling for Coors players. Next, it's going to be Mr. Yadiel Hernandez from the Washington Nationals, owned in 19.4% of ESPN leagues. Last 6 games, he's batting 13 for 29, 1 homer and 4 doubles. And for this season, 346, 2 homers, 15 RBIs, 1 steal. It's funny when you say stats like that, and then you realize people like Whit Merrifield have drastically underperformed, just how much value you'd have playing them all season in your lineups. But Nats play 6 games all on the road, so factor in that he's going to get probably more at-bats. And the last is Mr. Jace Peterson, owned in 0.8% of ESPN leagues, so he's probably free in your league. Second base, first base, outfield, third base eligible. If you can't find a spot for him on your team, then congrats, you have constructed your roster poorly.
Yay.
He sits safely in the last 4 games where he has 1 homer, 3 RBIs, 5 runs, 1 stolen base. And the Brewers' offense has been hot. They have 64 runs over their last 9 games. So you definitely want to ride the streak on that. They play 6 games next week, and one of those is against Patrick Corbin, who has been slightly better.
He's shaking the core has-been label.
Patrick Corbin has been listening to us trash him on this podcast. So, but I'm still picking people against Corbin.
I like how you put versus Corbin in the parentheses there. You had to make sure that was highlighted.
Exactly. For the people that are watching on YouTube, they have to know how much I dislike him. I think he's 0-5.
Patrick Core has been turning it around slightly of late.
Look, he's making $23 million this year. He can deal with my cyberbullying.
There you go. Now, time for Marty Party's. His 2-start pitchers here are right here for us.
Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. As always, we are going to do the 2-start pitchers. This is for next week, and give you the dates for those, since there's like, depending on which site you're in, it's like 3 different weeks. So this is going to be 2-start streamer starting on Monday, May 16th, going through the 22nd. All right, we're going to start with your no doubters here. D. Mendy's boy, Dylan Cease.
Oh, my heart is beating.
Just real quick, how have you enjoyed? Because he's one of those guys. You laid it out on the line. You said this guy's going to be great, and he's been great. So how are you handling your success, D. Mendy? The listeners want to know.
It's not good because Tanner Houck was that guy this year. He's been ass. So I'll take the good and the bad. You get some right, you'll lose some. So
they offset each other. All right. Well, Cease is at the Royals and then at the Yanks. I like that. Logan Gilbert. He got roughed up last time, but I still like him here. At Toronto, at Boston. We're gonna see what he's made of. I mean, these are gonna be two hard starts on the road. Freddie Peralta, he's had a rough start of it so far. I'm still rolling him out there against Atlanta, and especially against Washington. Zach Wheeler versus San Diego and the Dodgers. That's a tough week, but he's your ace. You drafted him in the first 2-3 rounds. You gotta play him. Luis Garcia at Boston, and then versus Texas. Tyler McGill, St. Louis at Colorado. Shohei Ohtani at Texas versus Oakland. Lucas Giolito versus at Royals, and then at the Yanks. That's going to be another tough week, and this is where the White Sox are going to have to start turning it around. Lance Lynn, I think he's going to be coming. Have we heard anything from Lance Lynn? Doc, have you heard anything?
I've heard that he's going to be back in June.
Early June, they said.
Early June. Okay, so still got about 3.5 more weeks. So these are must-win games right now for the White Sox. Nathan Eovaldi versus Houston, then Seattle. And then Tony Gonsolin, still loving everything I'm seeing from him. He goes against the terrible Diamondbacks, and then as Art already pointed out, the Rays are struggling. So we'll be taking those guys on the road. And next is why not? I don't love them, but you can't sit these guys right now. You just can't. Ian Anderson at Milwaukee, at Miami. I know Milwaukee's really they're really hot right now, but you got to roll him out there. He's a quality start machine, especially for in quality starts. You got to start him every single week. Jesus Luzardo versus Washington at Atlanta. I know he's been getting beat up, but I've liked what I saw of those first 5 starts. I think he's going to be able to continue that. Merrill Kelly out of nowhere. Raise your hand if you had Merrill Kelly on your team or you drafted him.
No, I thought he was complete balls.
Doc, are you lying?
I got him on a couple teams, on a couple DC 50s. Because he's a Pokemon.
A draft and hold, yeah.
Still counts,
he's a Pokemon, okay?
Real quick, though, before I don't want to interrupt Marty. Really quick, though, did you guys hear the Miles Michaelis story?
No.
Well, so you know how we call Jesus Luzardo the Lizard King?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this.
That he actually ate a live lizard, and so they call him the Lizard King?
Mm-hmm. Wow. You ever seen it's on the Twitter, the videos on Twitter. I think it was last year he did that, but yeah, he's a wild man.
I'm watching it after the show, but Luzardo is still the Lizard King, but Michaelis, he may have to outgrow the porn star name because
I think that's what a porn star would do. You know what I
That's
mean? Just
true.
eat some kind of weird
He
reptile.
can be the porn star still for our show, I guess.
All right. And the porn star is going to be on the road next week. So go check him out versus the Mets and then at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's terrible. Run anybody out there against them.
Wait, Marty, you remember when you had Miles Michaelis on your sit list?
Yeah. And you know what? It was on my questionable list. Thank you very much. Go back. Interns, update that. Jose Urquidy's going to be at Boston versus Texas. Tyler Anderson.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, have you seen what Tyler Anderson has done? Go look, everybody. Here's your assignment from Uncle Marty. Go on his Baseball Savant page. Go check out his ERA. Go check how he's done. It's been absolutely stunning. He's against the terrible Diamondbacks, and
he's going to set you. He's going to set you up to fail. Marty's having you do this. He's going to make you think that pitching Tyler Anderson's a good idea, and
this week it is. This week it is, y'all.
Okay.
Just tune in, enjoy it. And Jake Odorizzi, how did he do last week? I'm just wondering, Doc.
Oh, he did. He did well.
He did.
I'm going to doing this all over you, Eric.
I'm going to give.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Marty kudos later in the show. Don't worry.
Okay, good. That's all I want. Okay. Jameson Taillon, he's still continuing to do it. At Baltimore versus Chicago White Sox. The Yankees staff has just been absolutely amazing. Their offense is on point. They're winning almost every single game, so you got to roll them out there. Corey Kluber, is he back? I mean, I can't imagine a better. I mean, look at these two starts versus Detroit. Yes.
It's not officially a Marty Party segment until Doc breaks his balls.
I've noticed that too.
It's just
Marty said he would drop, and Tyler says Marty said he would drop me if I didn't enter the chat tonight. So
yes, that's very true. Thank you, Tyler. Finally, it's only I think my 70th episode on the pod, but my girlfriend finally made it. We made it, guys.
Tyler, you're the favorite girlfriend of the show. Just so you know,
it's true.
We now know she exists.
So Corey Kluber versus Detroit at Baltimore. I mean, it doesn't get those two matchups are amazing. Enjoy those. Doc, you said you didn't know what Risky Business is. So for those of you who are tuned in, this is Tom Cruise sliding in his underwear. It's a classic 80s movie, Risky Business. This doesn't spark anything, Doc? You don't know? You have no idea what this is?
I've seen the spoof commercial when it was like Kobe, A-Rod, like for the Grammys, like years ago.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't count, but I get it. So yeah, these are the Risky Business guys. I mean, you may start them if you're desperate. If it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you need some strikeouts, or you may be hoping for a win or something like that. But I don't recommend these guys. But they're not take a seats yet. So Brad Keller versus the White Sox versus Minnesota. Chris Flexen at Toronto at Boston. Madison Bumgarner versus the Dodgers, and then at the Cubs, Yusei Kikuchi, Lucas. So this is Lucas's favorite pick out of these. Yusei Kikuchi versus Seattle and Cincinnati. I mean, I can't disagree with that. Those are two pretty good matchups. Cincinnati is just not even a professional baseball team at this point, so definitely run them out there. Alex Wood at Colorado versus San Diego. And then these are my – why don't you take a seat?
Your Chris Harrison's.
Chris Hansen, David.
Chris Hansen, sorry.
What do you think was going to happen today? Anyway, take a seat. These are the guys you're not going to
Marty, it sounds like you've been on that show.
Anyway, take a seat. Tanner Houck versus Houston versus Seattle. D. Mendy, I had to do it. I just can't do it right now. Yeah. Jordan Hicks at the Mets at Pittsburgh. Martin Perez, Angels at Houston. Keegan Thompson versus Pittsburgh versus Arizona. I mean, those are two amazing matchups. So if you're feeling super frisky, I don't know, maybe do it. Kyle Bradish, New York Yankees, Tampa Bay. We already went over. He's not. You can't start him right now. Justin Steele versus Pittsburgh, Arizona again. Antonio Senzatella versus the Yankees versus Tampa Bay. Vince Velasquez at Kansas City at the Yankees. Taylor Hearn versus the Angels at Houston. Zach Logie?
I don't even know.
There you go. Exactly. It doesn't matter. Take a seat. Minnesota, and then at the the Los Angeles Angels are number 1 in team OPS. So
it doesn't shock me. They've been hot.
They're absolutely incredible. Chris Bubick versus the White Sox, Minnesota. Bryce Wilson at Chicago versus the Cardinals. Bo Brisky versus Tampa Bay at Cleveland. Aaron Sanchez at Miami at Milwaukee. And then lastly, Chris Archer at Oakland at Kansas City. Do not start any of those players. Thank you.
Marty,
I just saw Matt check in. Matt is my guy. So I just had to make sure Tanner Houck has hurt me more than he knows. Matt, me and you are together on that, brother, because I have Houck in so many places, and I just shot down the standings of so many leagues. So I feel that pain for sure. And he said I drafted him way too high. Yep, me and you both, buddy. Well, we're riding this train together. Hopefully, we gets back on the track soon.
Marty, do you hate Zach LaGuay so much that you put at Allah?
Allah, yeah. At Allah. I don't know. No, at Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in California.
I think Braden gave us the name for Bubik, his nickname. No, he puts Bubik in a corner.
I thought he was pubic hair.
Either of those work. Pubic hair, but it was Bieber in a corner. Kyle Hendricks a 2-start next week. I can check that for you, Lucas. As far as next week, Kyle Hendricks on Fantasy Pros, they don't even have.
I think he's 1-star because he went Monday. I think this week's a 2-star.
Yeah, he's not. As of right now, he's not a 2-star pitcher. But I've been doing this for the last 4 weeks. You got to check it Sunday night. It could all change.
Yeah. So he's slated to start Saturday against Arizona right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would definitely start him against Arizona. I'm going to.
Ooh, he's a risky guy. But yeah, those are the weekend warriors, and I forgot to give you the weekend warriors.
That's
those are the 2-star pitchers. Jeez. I'm getting all mixed up all over the place. We are moving and grooving, Doc. Why don't you go ahead and why don't you give us your pitching streamers?
All right. So first one we got here, Dane Dunning, the nickname Alter Ego.
Yeah, it's my alter ego.
It is gonna stick. So Dane Dunning, who's owned in 7.6% of ESPN leagues. If you take out the game against the Yankees, or the last 3 starts, he has 14.1 innings pitched, 4 earned, 4 walks, 17 Ks.
Can you take out his? Can you just do his last 3 starts? Are you allowed to do that?
I was looking at the last 3 starts, which good opponents at New York versus Atlanta and versus Houston. They're going to be in Texas this week to play the Red Sox, who have actually been pretty cold. They scored 2 runs or less in 4 out of their last 5 games. And Dane Dunning has been really good limiting home runs this year. He's at 0.84 home runs per 9, which is a career low for him. And his ground ball rate is high like it was last year at 52.7%. So I really like him as a streamer this weekend against the Red Sox. The next is going to be Mr. Jordan Lyles, owned in 3.9% of ESPN leagues. And this is where I was going. If you take out the start at the Yankees,
there you go.
Who's been relatively hot. He has 3 earned in his last 18.1 innings, 17 Ks. He's gone at least 4.2 innings in every start, so he hasn't gotten bombed to the point where he's getting out there in the first inning. Jake Odorizzi just did well against the Tigers.
Reason?
Okay? Yes.
Why did you put that on as a
did well.
Jake Odorizzi did well. I think Jordan Lyles is slightly better than Jake Odorizzi.
For those that aren't watching on YouTube, he has it literally as a bullet point of why you should start him.
It is a bullet point that Jake Odorizzi did well, and just how bad the Tigers are. They've gotten shut out in 2 out of their last 5 games. They were shut out until
this better not be the Saturday night game, but I'm going to.
I think they were shut out until like the 8th inning today.
I'm gonna look right now while he goes through his last guy, Marty.
And then the last one here. Rich Hill. Now, this is contingent that he gets activated from the COVID-19 list. As of Wednesday, he stopped having symptoms, so he's on pace to make his start Saturday. But he's gone 4 innings in all 5 starts this season, a season-high 5 innings, which isn't that impressive, but I guess when you factor in he's 42 years old. But his last 3 starts hasn't given up any earned runs, 13 innings, 4 walks, 11 Ks. Playing at Texas, which is a pitcher's ballpark. Don't look at that error on there, but not huge into the waiver or the streamers this week. But I think that these are all safe floor guys that can give you 5-6 innings, play 3 or less earned runs. Not huge K upside, but you'll take the good ratios that you can get and hopefully a win.
Marty, did you say you're going Friday or Saturday?
I'll be going Saturday, so I'm going to miss him.
Good. You just lucked out.
Yeah.
What, you don't want to see Jordan Lyles throw
Lord
a gem?
was smiling on you for that one.
You don't want to see Jordan Lyles throw a gem?
No.
All right, I hope it gets rained out Friday and he has to pitch Saturday.
Doubleheader. Hey, why are you wishing so bad on my guy Marty here?
The Tigers are getting roughed up enough. We don't need this.
Yeah, we don't. All right, Marty, why don't you go ahead and give us our weekend warriors?
All right, let's hop in. It reminds me of the what's the kung fu show that's on Netflix that's brought back from the 80s, The Karate Kid, but
no, isn't it
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
That's what it reminds me
Yeah.
of, like a Cobra Kai intro. So anyway, I can't think of Cobra Kai, Weekend Warriors, ipso facto, same thing here. So let's start here. These are going to be your Weekend Warriors for this upcoming weekend. So that's going to be the 13th through the 16th, your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're desperate, right? You're looking at your Yahoo app, your ESPN app. Maybe you're not working right now, because you just only thing you can tell is that, hey, I'm down in runs, I'm down in home runs, I'm down in steals, I need something. So these are the guys going to give you a little bit of a push coming up for this upcoming weekend. We're going to start with Ben Gamel, outfielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 7% rostered. He has 4 games. This actually starts Thursday, starting tomorrow, but he has 4 games against the Reds at home. Gamel's leading off for the Pirates over the last 7 days. He's 12 out of his last 28 with 5 runs. He's got a home run, 6 RBIs, a 484 OBP, and a 714 slug. He's going to play every single day. He's hitting at the top of the lineup. Not a good lineup, but he's going to, you don't got to worry about whether or not he's going to be in there day in, day out. So start with Gamel, and then moving on to Colton Wong, who's 41% rostered. I think that's a little low, even for like a 12-team league. I think he should be rostered at this point. Milwaukee second baseman. He's 6 out of his last 22 with 5 runs, 1 homer, 2 RBIs, and what we are all looking for every single day, steals. He's got 2 swipes in the last 7 days. He's got a 370 OBP, and he has 3 games at Miami. Who's the ballpark's not great for power, and their pitching staff looks pretty good. But he's going to be working in that Milwaukee Brewers offense, which we've already kind of went over. It's absolutely on fire right now. Number 3 is going to be Brandon Nimmo. He's back as a weekend warrior. Last time I called him as a weekend warrior, he instantly got COVID. Hopefully that does not happen again. He's got his antibodies up, and he's hasn't been in any weird parties or something. Anyway, outfielder for the Mets, 29% rostered. He's 6 for his last 18. Over the last 7 days, he has 3 runs, 2 RBIs, a 500 OBP. I mean, he's an OBP monster. He's leading off every day for the Mets. So he has 3 home games versus Seattle. Their pitching staff's middling at best, so I really like where he's at. I want to give a shout out to Jace Peterson, as Doc's already highlighted. He was my 4th guy. I mean, on Yahoo, first base, second base, third base, and outfield eligibility. Only 1% rostered, 3 games at Miami. He has 3 stolen bases over the last 7 days, and he's playing every day. 7th or 8th, 9th in the lineup, but he's day in, day out playing. All right, let's move on to the pitchers here. I think everyone's going to enjoy this one, and I can't believe he is back from the dead, and then I'm actually going to suggest this. But Jose Quintana, 3% rostered, at home versus the worst team in baseball, the Cincinnati Reds. So far this year, he's got a 2.70 ERA, a 1.20 whip. Over in 30 innings, he has 25 strikeouts. He's even got you a win on the Pirates, and they don't have many. So this is one of those things where you're super desperate. You're going against the Reds. You really can't do worse, but hey, it's still not too bad. Number 2, Tyler Wells for the Baltimore Orioles, 4% rostered. He actually might be the guy that will be going against me when I do go to the game. He's going against the Tigers. The 27-year-old has a respectable 3.75 ERA, a 1.13 whip. He has 17 strikeouts and just 4 walks over 24 innings this season. And he has 6 starts, so he's been, pitching pretty well. I actually thought he may be their closer coming into the year because of his stuff was pretty nasty. But they, put him in the starting rotation, and he's doing pretty well. We've already well documented how bad the Tigers are. It's not too bad of a match, too bad of a stream if you're desperate. And hey, if you're saying desperate, I think Nick Pivetta and desperate kind of go hand in hand, especially at this point in the year. So
what's his name?
We're
Nick Pivetta. Gotta bleep out his last
censoring.
name.
Boston Red Sox, only 7% roster. He's going to be at Texas. So he has a 6.08 whip or ERA. His whip's 1.61. He has 29 Ks over his last 26 innings. But last game out, he showed why the robot, he drafted him a lot. He went 6 shutout innings versus the White Sox. He had 8 Ks over that 6 innings. So, hey, he might be back on track here. He's going to I'm not worried about him getting innings. So if you want somebody you need maybe a quality start or you're extremely desperate, Pivetta at Texas Rangers. Those are the weekend Warriors.
Nice Warriors. Ready to go into battle. All right. Time to quickly now. We're going to go to another good segment here. We have Art's Charts.
I'm gonna have to fight against that name. Arch charts. It puts too
Britton
much pressure.
suggested it.
It puts too much pressure on me to create a chart every week, and
I'll
I
say
didn't
about
create
arch charts and trends.
Arch charts and trends. Perfect. And the one trend going on this week, crypto's down. Oh, and one thing that's up is my happiness at all those people who told me I was dumb for not investing.
Stop, Art. Some of us have investments.
It's a trend. There's a trend. Sad crypto investors. But now let's talk about baseball
The
trends.
market.
Okay. 2021 to 2022 comparison. I don't know if you remember last week, I looked over the 3 true outcomes and how home runs plus walks was the same and as a percentage of the 3 true outcomes as they were coming out. But if you compare 21 to 22, 2021 to 2022, you can see that 36% of the plate appearances in one season ago ended in a strikeout, walk, or home run. In this season, it's 34% ended in a strikeout, walk, or a home run. That is a 2% increase in fielding outs. This appears to be something that is continuing throughout the season as it goes. A lot of people blame the ball. I think the ball is an easy thing to point to as why this is happening. I do also know that Major League Baseball has been trying to create less strikeouts, less home runs in the game and generate more offense through the old-fashioned way. So this could be just the manifestation, 2% decrease in the 3 true outcome approach. It could just be and it's had a dramatic change on our viewing of the game, but it could just be that little 2% difference could be one of the things that's making everything seem so wacky to us. So if you're looking from 2021 to 2022, singles, doubles, stolen base attempts, and fielding outs are all up. Triples, home runs, and strikeouts are down.
We're going to get to that question, Kyle, in 1 second. I just want Art to finish his art charts and trends.
Yeah, it's so this is a trend that we'll keep monitoring throughout the season. Singles, doubles, and stolen base attempts up. This is a interesting thing. This is very much like baseball in the 1970s and 80s were singles, doubles, and stolen base attempts and fielding outs. That was when a lot of people that are involved in the fantasy baseball space started watching baseball. So it'll be very familiar to a lot of us. But when you look over the last week, batting average is up to 239 in the past week with 3.1 home runs per 100 at bats. That is up. Those are both up. 239 is up over last season's batting averages even now, and it raised the current season's batting average to over last season's batting average at this point as well. So we are starting to see an increase in batting average, see an increase in stolen base attempts, and now home runs are increasing, 3.1 home runs per 100 at bats. Last season, they were at 3.5 to this point. But up until this past week, we were at 2.8 home runs per 100 at bats. So this is a small increase, about a 10% increase. So that's a good thing. Now I decided for something useful. I wanted to give something of fantasy relevance in the trends section and the charts and trends. So this list, the list that is on your screen, and I will read it out, are the catchers that have been stolen on the most this season, though. So if you are short on steals and would like to stream, this catcher that has been stolen on the most is Jacob Stallings. Austin Hedges for Cleveland is second. Travis d'Arnaud for Atlanta is third. You will also see Tucker Barnhart for Detroit, Tyler Stevenson for Cincinnati, Joey Bart for San Francisco, and Christian Vasquez for Boston. Pitchers are also something you want to look to steal against. Noah Syndergaard is one of the easiest pitchers to steal against. His catcher, Max Stassi, here on the list as well. Austin Nola hasn't thrown anyone out this season. 12 steals in 12 attempts. Wilson Contreras likes to try and pick players off first base and do it in a flashy way, but he's not great at throwing out steals. So that's someone else you can target, as well as Omar Narvaez from Milwaukee. Mitch Garver's the last name on this list, but we did see that he just went on the IL. So if you're looking to get some steals, it looks like Miami is one team you want to target, because Stallings has been stolen on the most this season. And those are the trends I'm looking at.
I always love arts, charts, and trends, and I never know how to follow up from that, honestly. But I'm going to try, because we have a great question in the chat here from Kyle, who's checking in here. Well, before that, I'll put love arts charts, but I had no idea for now arts checkmating, where it discusses moves like Arabian mates, clicks, chicks. Oh my God, Brent, you are the man. You're too much sometimes, but I love it. This is a question from Kyle here, who I wanted to address, because he asked me in the DMs, and I thought this would be a good discussion question here. I'm the one messaging you. Whenever you get a chance, I'd love to hear a debate on the rankings of Woodruff, Cease, Webb, Sandy, and Freddie Peralta. So why don't we go around real quick, and you put those guys in order, rest of season, for each single one of you guys here. As it stands today, for me, I think I go Cease, Woodruff, Sandy, Webb, and Peralta. So Cease, Woodruff, Sandy, Webb, and Peralta would be how I would rank it. But they all are in like a somewhat a similar tier for me. Or if anything, maybe like Cease and Woodruff are like the end of one tier, and then Sandy, Webb, and Freddie are like a little bit lower there. Doc, what about you?
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about that same order. I think Cease is the first. I'll go Woodruff, Sandy. I'll switch Peralta and Webb at 4 and 5.
What about you, Marty?
I mean, I got the hat on everything. Brandon Woodruff, number 1, Cease, number 2, Sandy, 3, Webb, 4, Peralta, 5.
What about you, LC?
I'm concerned with Woodruff, actually. He's had some poor results this season. The underlying still looks good, but his results have not been good. So Woodruff is a bit scary to me. I might bump him down from normal. Like, I would have had him number 1 on this list by a long way to start before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'd probably put him below Cease. Just rest of season, Woodruff second. I go Webb, Peralta, Sandy.
Whoa, spicy.
I think next. Sandy's strikeout issues are worrying me, because he's not striking out guys.
He's walking a lot of guys too.
He can't get any wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So I was gonna say we were all on board with like LC, Doc, and myself like Cease number 1. Marty likes Woodruff, and then obviously LC. Who'd you have number 2? Logan Webb.
I had Woodruff too, just based on my preseason, and I didn't want to bump him down too much.
Okay, so Cease, Woodruff, some way combination. Those are top 2, and then I think the other 3 are all over, kind of all around there. So I think it's a really good question, because these are all 5 pitchers, and like, again, somewhat in a similar range there. But I think we all feel that Cease and Woodruff in some way, shape, or form are in the top 2. And then,
Dude, let me ask you, as a Woodruff owner, how do you feel about him rest of the season?
So I'm definitely a little nervous, but like the velocity isn't down like a ton. It's down a little bit, and he's still getting a lot of strikeouts. I just don't know if it's because the weather isn't warm yet, and he's one of those pitchers that might start heating up once the summer goes. I put this out on Twitter, and I said, I'm not worried about Woodruff yet, but now like my ears are up. Like I'm perked up. His bad starts before, I'm like, oh, it's just a bad start. I'm like, when he starts, I'm actually watching his box score, and I'm watching the games, because he is not a locked in guy like he has been in the past. So,
well, he's leaving a lot of balls out over the plate. And when you actually look at his biggest, like you look at a StatCast from this year to last year, it's all about hard hit data. Last year, it was nothing but soft contact. This year, they are destroying the ball off him.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully it's something too, like he'll see, or coaches will see, and he'll make adjustments. Obviously, he's a very fastball heavy pitcher. But we've seen guys like Lance Lynn and others that are primarily fastball guys. You can get away with that if you have the right movement and you mix up your fastballs a little bit. So I'm not worried about Woodruff yet, but he's definitely, I think, now gone behind Cease because Cease's strikeouts and his walks are, again, like more manageable than they have been. Cease is legit an ace now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I want to say the thing about Woodruff of why I wasn't as high on others is we haven't seen the large sample size from him. Like he went 9-10 with a 2.56 ERA last year in 179 innings. The year before that, obviously in a short 2020, he threw 73. The year before that, 121, but a 3.62 ERA. Like he hasn't had that great stretch of dominance to put him in the top 3 to 5 starting pitchers that he was
I disagree,
ranked.
though. I feel like he has had a decent run of success.
He's had a decent, but I didn't feel comfortable taking him in the first round of leagues this year.
Well, I guess the question is, where are you ranking Cease?
I did my rankings for the Triple Play Patreon, and for that, I had Dylan Cease, I think, at SP 14.
He was
And
19
that was
for me going into the season. So
I'm sorry?
I said he was 19 for me going into the season. So I would
Where
have
is he
to move
now?
him up. I don't know. I haven't probably.
Let me ask you guys
easily
around the horn.
top 15.
Who would you rather have rest this season, Dylan Cease or Giolito?
Giolito.
Giolito.
I'm going Giolito barely, but I don't think it's a crazy
A lot
question
closer
to
than it
ask.
was. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
And I want to say that Webb actually, his whip has been poor. I didn't realize how many hits he's been giving up the last few starts. I probably bump him down below Sandy and Freddie. May put Webb in last if I was gonna after doing a little bit of look on his stats. He's been giving up a lot of hits lately.
All right, well, I think it's a pretty good discussion. Kyle, thanks for bringing that into the chat. I hope you have more of those types of questions because that's fun to debate on these types of shows. You guys know we like to keep it roughly around an hour, so we're going to leave the question and game for next week. Marty Ray has them ready to go, so we'll just bump it to next week. But I don't like bumping Marty, but in those rare occasions we got to there. But just as you guys know, we love all the questions in the chat here on the YouTube channel. It's our favorite thing to do, just to interact with everybody that listens to the show or just wants advice and just talk with us throughout the show. So if you enjoy these, make sure you check them out. Usually every Thursday evening, sometimes on Wednesdays, depending on schedule. But if you follow any of us on Twitter, we'll make sure we post that stuff for you guys. And if you enjoy the content on YouTube, please make sure you're liking and subscribe to the content. Turn that notification bell on so you'll get a notification every time this show goes live. And then make sure you guys leave a comment below any future things you want us to discuss here. If there's things you'd like us to improve on or things you really like. Maybe you like Marty's hat. I don't know. Whatever you want to make sure, let us know. And then on the podcast, always leave us a review. Make sure you're subscribed there. All those go out the day after we record because LC is a master editor there. And yeah, that's probably going to wrap us up for this week. Gentlemen, are you guys ready for a great weekend of baseball?
Fingers crossed that we're not getting another monsoon.
We can hope so. I'm not getting any golf in, so I will be watching baseball.
Oh, gosh. We almost made it one podcast without mentioning golf.
That's true. Got to make sure I throw that in there. You can find Doc at Trip Play Fantasy, Marty at Marty_Tallman, and LC at Art_T_Z on Twitter. Find me at DMendio2 on Twitter. Enjoy your baseball over the weekend. Hope your fantasy teams do well. And until next time, we're going to make like a bread truck and we're going to haul these buttons. Catch you guys next week.